She gets like, she goes, well, she has to go back that same Sunday, and she's like, my sister like, she froze and Sunday, and she's like, she was like, so you can drive, and what was terrible.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Hope they locked the door, because I got everything in there. Okay. No. Are you ready? Okay. Okay. Can I get a motion to go into public session?
Move it.
Moved by Mr. Langone.
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Cunningham. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stand for a moment of silence, remembering Joe and Gino Sr. Thank you. Please be seated. We don't do a fire code, right? Okay. So, I believe we have a few presentations. Are we doing CT first, or?
Actually, there's a portion of the meeting where we're holding a public hearing for items 3.1 and 3.2. The board will later discuss these when we come to a motion to consent agenda later in the meeting. But first, I just turn it over to Mr. Van Ward, if he can just talk about item 3.1, public hearing, tax exemption for senior citizen, and item 3.2, which is also public hearing for tax exemption for persons with disabilities and limited income.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Davidson. So the New York State Legislature passed a modification to New York State real property tax law in 2011 that was adopted by the town of Babylon in 2022. So the board will be considering an increase in the senior citizen tax exemption income limit, as well as the disabilities and limited income limit. So just to give you some background, the last time the tax exemption limit was updated was in 2011. The limit is currently at $29,000, so anybody under the threshold who's over the age of 62 would qualify for the senior citizen tax exemption, or if they meet the requirements of being disabled under the Social Security Administration Act, they would also be eligible for this exemption. It would be raised if the board was to adopt it to $50,000, and that gives a 50% reduction of assessed value on property tax liability, and up to $58,400. It gets phased out over different income levels.
Okay, I just have a couple of questions. So you're telling me that the income level will now be 50,000 from 29?
That's correct.
Okay.
That is correct, yes. So anybody who makes under $50,000 who's over 62 could potentially be eligible for the exemption.
Do we have any idea how many individuals that would take into consideration?
The district would not know that, would not have that information. What I can tell you is, based upon the previous year's tax rolls, 1% of the public tax assessed value fell under this exemption out of the overall tax burden for the entire community.
So the 1% would be placed on the burden of the other taxpayers.
Yeah, so the tax levy doesn't change. The exemption basically shifts the cost of taxes to other individuals in the community who are not exempt from the tax liability.
Okay, thank you. Any of my colleagues have questions? Mrs. Cunningham?
When you say that senior citizens who make under $50,000, if you have a two-family home, a two-family, it will be, the family has to be less than $50,000? Or each person makes less than $50,000?
The house, it would be household.
So it's okay, thank you, it's a household. And if I remember correctly, this comes down from the town of Babylon. So this just isn't Lindenhurst, correct?
That's
This-
correct. So the New York State Assembly passed the law first in 2021, which triggered the local jurisdictions to either adopt or not adopt. Town of Babylon did that in September 2022.
So all school districts right now are being...
In Suffolk County.
In Suffolk County are being asked this, the same question of the boards, of the school districts, I
Correct.
should say. Okay.
Mr. Di Giuseppe?
So just to be clear on this, a vote of yes is you are supporting the tax exemption for senior citizens. And a vote of yes on 3.2 is that you are supporting a tax exemption for people with disabilities. And a vote of no is not to do it. That's correct, right?
Actually, a vote of no means that you're keeping the income
Current
levels the same.
income
A vote of
levels.
yes is that you're increasing the income levels for people that are eligible for that and increasing the tax burden on individuals who pay taxes that are not subject to those exemptions.
I get what you're saying, but
Shifting it.
we're moving at another opportunity for tax relief from our senior citizens is what we're doing.
Or a tax increase.
Or tax increase on the other one. I get what you're saying, and I respect your opinion.
You can
Well,
look at
you
that.
know, you know
Okay.
what the problem is,
But yeah,
Mike?
but essentially,
We
yes.
don't really know how many people this affects. So, you know, we're really guessing. We're pretty much, I mean, I don't know how many people who are going to make $50,000 over 62 are within the boundaries of Lindenhurst. So I have no idea how many people that would affect. And that 1% could be even higher.
That was what I was going to ask.
You know?
I understand what you're saying. I appreciate your input. Thank you.
Okay.
How do we get that data? I mean, to
Yeah.
know
Is there any way we can
how
get that
much it
data?
affects the
The IRS?
district?
If we had access to income of every member of the community, we could do an analysis, but we just don't have that information available to us.
Guessing.
Really, the IRS, or the state tax department, are the only ones that would have that. And the town of Babylon doesn't even have that information.
Town
We
of
can make a
Bab-
best guess estimate based upon historical data and
Right.
who's qualified under the income thresholds that are currently in place. It's very difficult to make an accurate projection moving forward.
So we wouldn't know, so the average person, you know, that the money would be shifting to the other families that don't fall into that category, we would really have no idea
Right.
on how
They
many
would-
people this
They would
affects.
increase their cost. Their cost would be increased, their tax dollar.
And another
We would-
question also.
we would determine
After you
that
go. So my question would be also, so this, you said it doesn't change the tax levy. So for example, if the Board of Education were to present a budget to the taxpayers next May with a potential, and this is potential, so don't put it out there on Facebook, let's say it's a 1% tax increase. That 1% tax increase for any people that are not subject to these exemptions, there would be an additional increase of the actual dollar amount for their assessment, but based on the offset of this unknown number of people that are now eligible for this exemption.
Potentially, if there's senior citizens in the community that make between $29,000 and $50,000 that applied for the exemption in the future, that the cost of taxes for those individuals and their properties would shift to other individuals in the community.
So the other individuals would be
We're
paying
not
that
exempt.
that 1% plus some unknown number that we
Correct.
don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't expect that to be a significantly high number, but you can't know for sure until the applications come in for 2023, 2024 tax rolls.
Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Cunningham?
So 1 of 8, I struggle with this. And because there's a part of me that thinks we have as with, I would say, every school district, we have people who have been paying our school taxes for 40-something years, and we are thankful for all their support. And in my heart, I think, yes, I think we should give a tax break to certain people. You know, if someone who's over 62 and has been paying in and they don't have children anymore, and they don't meet that income threshold, I think there should be a break, which we presently do give. However, as a board member who's promised to be fiscally responsible, and this is where I take a little bit of a shift here, what do you do? Because we don't have any monies to anything, any data here. And anyone who knows me knows I'm a fact person. I want to know what the data is so we know what we're doing. So as much as I really think this is important and I think we should, I don't think I can vote on it unless we don't have, if we don't have some more data. And that's my concern because of us as a district.
I appreciate that, and that's fine. I mean, I think my opinion on this is well known, so we could just go to a vote. There's no real,
Well,
I
after
just
the
feel,
consent
you
agenda.
know,
we'll-
it's
Yeah,
a good
fine.
talk on it too.
fine.
Did he want to talk about the disabilities one?
Let's finish this.
Okay. Bill?
I know somebody mentioned potentially a 1%, that it could be 1% shifted over to the taxpayer. Now, that 1% could vary. That could be 2 or 3% on top of what the budget would be, correct?
It depends on how many
It dep-
people apply for the exemption.
Right. That's what I'm saying, like, based on, if the number is X number of people apply that we may anticipate applying, then it could be the 1%. If more people apply for the program, then that burden could be shifted of up to potentially 2 or 3%.
Here's how I would look at it, Mr. Renner. The threshold is changing from 29,000 to 50,000, right? So that's about a 70% increase. I don't think you're going to see a 400% increase in applications with the income threshold going up. The projection I did was based upon a reasonable amount of increases in individuals that we believe would be within that income range and would apply for it, which drove the projection of, at most, we believe it would be a 1% shift in tax burden to other individuals. And again, that's conservative, at most 1%. We believe it would be much lower than that, but to answer your question, if it ends up being additional 0.5%, that 0.5% shifts to other taxpayers in the community that don't qualify for an exemption.
Okay, thank you.
And just to clarify too, we just kind of talked about the disability one too, is a very small percentage of individuals in the community that meet the criteria for being disabled under Social Security Administration rules. So it's likely to be mostly the senior citizens, that exemption that's going to increase by a little bit, that may have an impact.
So the people with the disabilities and limited income, is that the $50,000 threshold also?
It's the same thresholds.
It's
And then
basically the same
yep.
thing. So if you're disabled and you make up to $50,000 and disabled determined by Social Security disability, or you're over 62 and you make up to $50,000.
Correct.
Correct.
And then there's a
Household.
phase out from 50,000 to 58,000. So think about it like steps. If you make 52,000, you may only get a 40% reduction on your taxes, exemption rather on your taxes. You make a little bit more, it continues to go down until it phases out completely at 58,000.
Okay, thank you.
One more. If we say no to this, to the $50,000, they're still getting the exemption of the 29.
It's status quo.
Okay, and if we say no to this, can we have a request in that'll take a year to say, we need to know how this would impact us more? The whole district. Listen, we're all in here, you know, whether you're a senior citizen or you're a new home buyer, we're all taxpayers here, supporting the district, whether you have children in the district or you don't. Totally understand that, but we need to understand the shift. And I'm very happy personally, and being here on the board is to make sure that we are taking care of our own, which we always do. However, we have to look at the whole picture. Again, my one of 8, to say, how is this affecting everyone?
You would need to know the income levels for every taxpayer in the community. I just don't think that that data is going to be available to make an accurate, 100% accurate forecast. The best you can do is estimate on historical data.
Anybody else have any questions?
Okay.
One question. Do we vote on this every year, or this is a one-shot deal?
Once in 10 years. We haven't done this in 10 years.
Does anybody from the audience have any questions on this? Okay. CTE?
So, one of the things the district has really done a wonderful job, and this is predating my entering here, is the development of a career and technical education pathways. The CTE program in Lindenhurst is one to be admired. As a matter of fact, our neighboring district came and visited and certainly gave that ringing approval of how wonderfully developed it is and how many opportunities our kids are given. And the program continues to grow and expand, and it's certainly something that aligns with the new movement in education, to look beyond college and career ready, to honestly look at how can we help kids upon graduation with the skills that they can move into the workforce immediately or take those skills and go to college should they choose. So Mr. Scarola has been our CTE coordinator for a little better part of a year. He has continued to take the baton and help this program grow. We're joined here. He's going to give us an overview, and fortunately, we're joined with students as well. So we're very excited about tonight. And Mr. Scarola, take it away.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'll keep my comments short because I know we want to hear from the students. Thank you for having us. We're so excited to be here. Good evening, board members, Superintendent Davidson, cabinet members, educators, community members, students, and those of you watching at home. My name is Tom Scarola, and I'm the very proud CTE coordinator. Just a quick background on me for those of you who don't know me. I was a CTE teacher myself for 16 years. I was a dean and assistant principal before taking my role here. I'm also currently a board member on my home district of Elwood, so I know how hard you work, and I would like to double your salary. Tonight, I just want to give a quick overview of our programs, what we have here to offer, and as Mr. Davidson mentioned, I think Lindenhurst is way ahead of most school districts on Long Island. Beth Page did come here last week to check out our classes. They want to build their own home improvement program, so I do believe we are a leader, and I hope that we can continue that. So just some highlights. I'm not going to read slide for slide. These are the classes we offer. CTE starts in 6th grade and goes all the way through 12th grade. We have approximately 35 different options for students. Next year, we are adding a Shark Tank business class to our middle school. We do not have a business elective, so we will now have for the first time at the middle school a business elective, and we are introducing car care management too. Our goal is to have 3 car care classes so we can have our own pathway. Mr. Zimbrisky in the audience is one of our new technology teachers. He is also our leader with our car management classes, so I thank him for being here, and we are looking forward to that program, speaking to people. The auto industry needs workers, and hopefully we can provide some of the best Lindenhurst graduates to enter that field. Some recap of last year when I started, some highlights. We relaunched our advisory council meeting, which meets 4 times a year. It brings together educators, administrators, parents, and students, and local businesses. We meet 4 times a year, and we exchange ideas, things that people in the industry are looking for when our seniors are graduating. I also attend every Lindenhurst Chamber of Commerce meeting, and I've built very good relationships with all the local businesses in Lindenhurst, and we're able to get some of our students jobs, because in high school you can earn credit if you have a job after school. And Ms. Regina Murnane heads that. She is our work-based learning coordinator. Also last year we brought back our union trade fair. We had 11 local unions come in May, and they met with students from Lindenhurst that were interested in joining the trades, and we invited about 10 local districts to come check it out. So once again, we were the leaders in this program. We also launched the district and us. We have a brand new website, which is our own CTE. We launched a Twitter and an Instagram so people can see all the wonderful things we are doing in our classes. Some picture highlights. Also, we had cars donated, because to get cars, I found out we had to own the cars. So I thank the board and I thank everybody in the community for donating your cars. We have another one up for donation tonight. So we have about 7 now in our fleet or so, which will be great because we're going to need them for car 1 and car 2. We went from 3 car classes to 5 car classes, so it is growing, which is very exciting. And now I'll show you some highlights. So some students last year were challenged to draw their own original blueprints of two of our libraries, one at Harding Elementary and one at Daniel Street. And Miss Charlize, who was in the audience, actually drew these. They actually went with Mr. Santoro, and it was a real, authentic student experience, which is something I'm a big fan of because that's the best way students do learn. Also in our fashion class, we have students making original designs from scratch. Ms. Reese Miller heads that up, and she does a fantastic job. In our Wood Tech, which is our entry-level wood program, we have students making 3D art. We have students making custom shelving. So that is our entry-level class, and I'm very proud of that. That is under Mr. Lacasio. And our robotics program is thriving. We were very lucky to receive approximately 15 VEX robots. As you can see in the pictures, students are doing courses and they're using critical thinking skills. Our robotics team did well last year. We made it to the finals. And this year we've won the first 2 local events. So once again, our robotics team is doing great under the direction of Mr. Danny Cahill, who is a Lindenhurst graduate. Home improvement. This is probably one of my favorite classes to walk into every day. Students are building an entire house inside a classroom. Last year we had 3 sections. This year we have 7 sections of home improvement. So it is a lot of students, and it's the biggest structure we've ever built under the direction of Mr. Angelo Santoro, who designed this program. Kids are doing windows, flooring, siding, they're doing molding, they're doing how to do electricity, wiring. It's stuff that I wish I would have learned in high school, whether you pursue this as a career or whether you just use this as you become an adult. These are skills you definitely can use for the rest of your life. So anytime you want to stop by, I encourage you, please come check out this structure. I'm just blown away every time I see it. We just had for our computer science, we did an hour of code. Code HS came in and kids had to design their own song beats. They had 1 hour to do it. We had about 30 students, and thank Mr. Glenn Habibi and Ms. Carrie Kelly for running that. It was amazing. So our computer science program is growing. We introduced cybersecurity this year through Syracuse University, and we have the 2 AP classes. So once again, I'm very proud of the direction our computer science program is going into. One of our new business classes this year is called Business 101, taught by Ms. Joanne Williams, where you can receive college credit. Students just research different franchises, and you can see one of our students got into cow costume because they really just loved the project and they took it to the next level. So thank you to Ms. Williams and her team for doing that. VE, which is our virtual enterprise class, which is basically you go to trade shows, was kind of shut down with COVID. So Mr. Lombardo came up with an idea where students created and designed their own restaurants last year because we couldn't really travel. So each group decided to make their own restaurants. They chose the menu. They did the decorations. They did all the work. Talk about an authentic hands-on experience. And the food was delicious. I went to both restaurants. And our FACS program is growing. We just hired a Ms. Pastori, who actually went to culinary art school, so her background is culinary. As you can see, students made these cupcakes. They're not from a bakery. They're s'mores cupcakes. She brought in a little blowtorch. Students are learning some really skills that, once again, I wish I would have learned when I was in high school. And Suffolk Community College has a great program where if someone wants to continue their education, they can go right into the culinary program at Suffolk. So once again, thank you to our FACS teachers for really pushing our students to think outside the box. Once again, here's some highlights from our trade show. We're very fortunate that Legislator McCaffrey is very supportive. Mr. DiGiuseppe was down last year. Ms. Anello was down there last year. So thank you all for your support. Once again, we're hoping to have this event, I believe, May 3rd, and all the unions look like they're going to be attending as well. So those are just some highlights from last year. Where I'd like to take the program in the future. So we actually just got approved for a culinary pathway, and I'll talk about pathways in a second. So next year we're adding another pathway to our wheelhouse, so we'll have a culinary pathway. I'd like to start something called the CTE Honor Society that recognizes students that do well in our programs. We do have the National Junior Honor Society, but students that excel in our program might not necessarily get into National Junior Honor Society, but they should be celebrated because they are really gifted in their own unique way. I'd like to bring back increasing critical thinking skills, which were kind of lost during COVID, where unfortunately kids were just given things because of our circumstances. I really want kids to start using their brain to solve their decisions on their own. I'm working with our ELL students to let them know about opportunities in the trades. Car Care 2 is a go for next year, and we're finding new jobs for students through our work-based learning program. So just a real explanation of what a pathway is. A pathway is a design program that we have to get approval from the state. We also work with our advisory board. It's a team effort. It's a lot of paperwork we fill out. The minimum credits are 3.5 credits. Once the state approves our program, it is good for 5 years. After 5 years, we have to go renew it. So a student can take a minimum of 3.5 credits, and one of the classes they have to take is a financial literacy class. It is part of every single pathway in New York State. So if you successfully complete one of our pathways, you get this gold seal on your diploma. It's called a CTE endorsement seal. This can help students that are going to college because it will give them a tool belt of tools they can use when they are pursuing, let's say, a career in business, or it can help somebody that is going to enter the work world and make a great living. So these are some of the pathways that we currently offer. We have a construction pathway, we have an architecture pathway, we have a computer science pathway, a business pathway, and next year we are going to be launching our culinary pathway. So we have a pathway in every one of our subject areas, with 2 being in technology. So that's a broad overview. Coming soon, thanks to the Board of Education and Administration, we are going to get our own cosmetology program. We're going to have our own salon built. Students are going to be able to stay in-house instead of having to go to BOCES, which will give them an opportunity to take more classes and be in Lindenhurst more. And who knows more about hair than me? Just look at my full head of hair. So we're very excited about that, and we're very thankful that it's coming to Lindenhurst, because we do have about 16 to 17 students from Lindenhurst that travel to BOCES right now for cosmetology. So thank you for that. So I have some students here that would like to talk. Unfortunately, one of them is sick, and one of them cannot make the meeting, so I told them I would read their letter for them on their behalf, and then I'll have these lovely people come up. So the first letter is from Amelia. Amelia says, I am a 12th grader here in Lindenhurst High School. A reason why I enjoy taking CTE classes is because it helped me decide what I'd like to major in college. Before taking accounting in junior year, I was confused on what to pursue and had different ideas, such as marine biology and forensic science. I wasn't too fond of those careers, and I felt lost since I didn't know what I wanted in my future. But when I took accounting, I realized that it was something that I'm good at, and I'd like to continue in college. It inspired me to continue taking CTE courses in senior year, and currently I'm in Business 101. Thank you, Amelia. And this is from Scott. Unfortunately, he is sick and is not here with us tonight. Scott says, I've taken 6 classes in the business department at the high school over the last 4 years, and I've discovered my passion for business through this department, and I plan on going to college to major in finance. Through my business classes ranging from college accounting, where I learned how to do financial accounting, to virtual enterprises, where I was president of the human resources, helping run a virtual company. I have a diverse background in the business field, and because of this, I was able to choose my major in finance. So we'll bring up our next. Now you hear from a real student.
Hello, I'm Donato Fiore. I'm a 12th grader here in Lindenhurst, and I'm specializing in computer science. So I started taking computer science courses in 10th grade with Mr. Habibi, who was first year teaching, and from then on, I really enjoyed it because it gave me like the freedom for me to express my own work, be able to work on my own pace, and it helped me with my problem-solving skills a lot because, you know, computer science, math, all that, and especially Mr. Habibi is a great teacher, especially for the subject, and his extensive background and his very supportive personality. Make sure that everybody is understanding what's being taught, and without making anybody who feels more advanced like have to hinder their own education. And he's just a great teacher for that. And I've been taking classes with him for 3 years. I am taking my 5th class with him this year over those 3 years, and he's one of the most supportive teachers that I've had, which is great, especially for this. And I'm just glad that overall Lindenhurst has a very deep and extensive variety of courses that we can take, especially in the computer science field. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Donato. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Habibi is truly one of a kind. I observe his class, and I don't know what's going on because it's all in code, but I guess it's working, Donato. Thank you. Our next student is Miss Charlize, and I have to tell you, Miss Charlize has pretty much taken all of our technology classes, and in the beginning of the year for home improvement, everyone gets to do a design, and her design was selected. So the giant house they're building this year is based off of Miss Charlize's blueprint, so I'd like to bring her on up. Thank you, Charlize.
First of all, I want to say thank you so much, and good evening. My name is Charlize Lamontia. I'm a 12th grader here at Lindenhurst High School, and the CT classes are probably the best decision I've ever made taking. They're amazing. By the end of this year, I will have completed 6 CTE courses. I started off taking my CTE courses with Architecture 1 in my freshman year, which is it's not heard of because drawn design is a prerequisite for that class, and I was a new student in my freshman year, October. And it was the only class available. I was unsure about taking that class. I wanted to drop it in the first 2 weeks. And Mr. Winter, who is now retired, made me stay and was like, you're gonna enjoy it. So that class soon became my pride and joy. I continued that pathway, and I finished with my 3rd year taking my drawings and making a half-scale model of the house I drew out of 10 different drawings. This year I am taking Principles Engineering with Mr. Spinaris, Land Transportation with Mr. Zembrisky, and Home Improvement with Mr. Santoro. These 3 instructors have inspired me to enjoy school, and through these classes, I have learned to love my education. And I've met incredible people. These instructors are amazing. My friends are amazing, and it really made my education unique, and I think it's what makes the high school incredibly unique. I've been to 6 different schools, so this was definitely a big change. Through these classes, I've decided what I want to pursue and the college I wish to attend. And any advice I give to underclassmen is that take the CT classes. It will be the best decision. So it's a true asset to our high school and make our education unique and worthwhile. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Charlize. I did not tell her to say any of that. I got the tingle, Charlize. Thank you. And you want to go to Worcester, right? Polytech, you're saying? Okay. Thank you. And our next speaker, Mr. Zachary, come on up.
Good evening. My name is Zachary Grice, and I'm also a senior in the high school. I've taken multiple CTE classes such as Principles of Engineering, Land Transportation Car Care 1, Life and Personal Finance, and Design and Draw. And this program, which I've been fortunate to be involved in the last few years of my high school career, have been nothing but filled with a positive impact on my education. I'm confident to say that I actually took something out of these classes and applied it to real-world situations, whether it's cleaning or detailing a car, to problem solving and using testing and troubleshooting methods to figure out what issues I've come across. These courses are not only extremely informative and useful for everyday things like owning a car, but also can serve as a way to find something interesting in studying or pursuing in the future. Each year, I watch this program get better and better and get significantly more popular due to our amazing staff and positive reports from previous students. I hope we can continue to keep this trend for coming years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. And our next student, Vinny, every time I'm walking in classrooms, he's always there. He's in all of our technology classes. He's always helping. He's always carrying boxes for teacher. All these kids are stars, but Vinny, he's always helping. So, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mr. Vinny.
Good evening. My name is Vinny Ficosi. I'm a 10th grader here in the high school, and last year I started off with land trans with Mr. Spinares, and during my lunch period I would be in Mr. Lacassia's room during his wood tech period. Over time I became very close with them with a teacher-student relationship, and I truly think that that's a big major part of finding what you want to do and continue after high school with taking these CTE classes. Mr. Lacassia is very he likes to help you, whatever, if you're questioning what you got to do. Everybody here in the high school is here to help you. No one's there to screw you over with your grades or anything. Everybody's there to help you. Coming into this year, I didn't know what to expect because I had heard rumors that there was new tech teachers with Mr. Z and Miss I. so far, it's been nothing but great stuff coming out of it. I see it being a great year, and next 2 years being extremely amazing, and I extremely encourage and support any people coming into the high school or in the high school to take CT classes, because it really forms a good pathway with the way they're taking the department. That's about it. Thank you.
Vinny's only in 10th grade. We're going to run out of classes for him to take, so we have to come up with some new classes for Vinny. Thank you to all the students. Can we give them another round of applause for being here? The teachers asked if anyone would like to speak, and these students sent me letters right away. I didn't have, and we got canceled a couple times. They were like, no, we're coming, we're still coming, we're still coming. They said, how should I dress, how should I dress? So I'm very proud of each and every one of you. To those students who couldn't make it, I'm still thankful for your letters. So that is our CTE program. If anyone has any questions, you know, for me, I have one of my tech teachers, any of the students, feel free.
I do. So first of all, I hate to use a Frank Naccarato reference, but you guys exemplify, and gals exemplify Lindy pride. I mean, everything I heard from you guys, just, it made me feel proud hearing it, and Mr. Scrolla, you were great to listen to, but really just hearing and seeing the passion that you for, just, it was coming from the heart, okay? And I was gonna ask the question about whether or not the house you guys are building was based on somebody's design, and I'm really glad, and you're even smiling, that it was yours. That's phenomenal.
After when he retired as Mr. Santora for my second and third year of architecture, so I was like, I'm gonna take any home improvement, I'm gonna take it. And he goes, okay. So when I did, the plan was completely from my head, I didn't search anything up. I was like, what would I want my house to look like if it was this size? So when I drew it, I handed it to him, he goes, okay, he's gonna go this one.
So after you graduate, is there gonna be a CTE course in demolition? So that you can take it down and like.
My goal is to hire them to help me around my house.
So that's phenomenal. So I have to say, I'm a little disappointed. I saw the pictures of the cupcakes. I kind of thought you might have been bringing cupcakes out.
I don't even get free samples in my
Next year,
office.
Although I will point out that in your volunteer work as a board member, you did get to eat last week at BOCES dinner, which Mr. Davidson, Mrs. Cunningham, and myself attended. And it's great to see that there are avenues for students that are just not, hey, I want to do books, I want to do an AP class, I want to do college, and go for liberal arts, that you can really express yourself in those types of things. I would just mention that for the VE class, if you're looking at trade shows, every January at the Javits Center in New York is the NRF, National Retail Foundation. They're starting that
Yeah,
trade
we're
show
going
again
back
this
to
year.
our first trade show January 10th at Old Westbury, and they are bringing the city one back, and it's going to be at the Javits Center.
Right.
So we're just waiting
something
for a
to think
date.
about. And then I'm a computer engineer. I'm a computer science guy. I work for a high-tech company. We sponsor a lot of those, coding days, Girls Who Code, with equipment and grants and, fellowships. One of the things we do, and I know you guys are, at least 3 of you are graduating this year, after college, a lot of companies, mine included, actually have programs where we'll bring you in for a 9-month period and, train you to be, high-tech cybersecurity and give you a job right after that at a pretty significant starting salary. I think right now the starting salary we're offering kids is like $175 to start. So it's computer science is a field near and dear to my heart. So maybe offline, get a hold of me and I can connect you with some of the people in my company.
Will do. Thank you, Mr. Langone.
But thank you guys, great job.
Okay. I had one question. When do you start? Is it 9th grade, 10th grade, 8th grade?
They can start taking classes in 9th grade. And we do have a robust middle school program as well, but the courses that count for graduation start 9th grade.
Okay, thank you.
But they can enter at any point, correct? I just want to.
Oh, yeah, you can enter
Right.
10th grade, 11th grade. You could
That's
take
the
your first class senior year.
flexibility.
There's no, yeah.
Anybody else? Any questions?
Thank you.
Questions, but I do have a comment. I think it's great. I kind of wish 20 years ago,
Me too.
guys have now, especially since it took me about 15 years in a career to finally find out that I needed a change, jump from one career to a trade career in flooring. So I think the architectural, great job. I would love to schedule to come down and take a look at that.
Anytime, please.
Great, I would love to see that. And just keep up the great work. I think the CT Honor Society, I think, it should be a push to get. I think that's great because, not all of us are savvy with books and science and all of that. And to have this as another alternative to honor those students, I think that's an incredible pathway for them. So just good job, keep it up, and looking forward to seeing what more you guys do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Oops.
I just want to thank you, Mr. Scarola, for being here and for putting this presentation together. I think it highlights one of the real highlights of our program in our high school and in our middle school. The four of you are remarkable. To hear you, to hear your passion, to hear you talk about problem solving, critical thinking, engineering, creativity, collaboration. It doesn't matter what pathway you follow, all of those skills translate to anything you want to do in life. And you just really exemplify why this program is so important. Thank you for being here. It's really so important to hear from you because you're the ones. We make decisions for kids all the time without ever asking them, and hearing you, it really just emboldens the fact that we need to continue to develop these programs. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Well put. Okay.
Thank
Well
you.
put.
We also know that you have school tomorrow morning, so please, we're not offended if you leave. You're welcome to stay, but it doesn't get as exciting as this.
Yeah, now's your cue.
Bye, guys.
All right, kids.
Take care. Okay. Approval of minutes?
I'd like to approve the minutes from the November 16th special meeting.
Approved by Mr. Langone, seconded by Mr. Renner. On the question. Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 7-0-0. Do you have a report?
I do. Good evening. I have a couple things to acknowledge. Last night, we had a presentation at the middle school from Long Island Counseling Coalition Against Bullying. Though lightly attended, it was a really valuable discussion, and Joe Salamone, who is the president of the organization, is also going to be doing push-in lessons in our middle school. So we're really thankful, and I think it just exemplifies our commitment to really addressing behaviors, as we've talked about with the board and in this forum multiple times. So that took place last night. Section 11 has recently announced the Outstanding Sportsman Team Award winners. And I'm pleased to let you know that the following teams and coaches were recognized. For Lindenhurst, varsity boys cross country, led by Dave Carlson. Varsity football, head coach Nick Lombardo and assistant coaches Damon Sinacropi, Ron Prohl, and Mark Prohl. Middle school white football team, led by Dennis Spinelli and Dan Perez. Middle school boys white soccer, led by Dave Figueroa. And middle school white green soccer, led by Mike Severson. That's the Outstanding Sportsman Team Award within that. So we also have had some students who are being recognized, and we're going to bring them forward in a couple months to be recognized here for the Long Island String Festival. They were invited to participate. Very elite group at Smithtown West on January 6th, 7th, and 8th. Smithtown West, yes, I said West. It's a tremendous honor and achievement for our students and their teachers. This includes Jake Albert, grade 10, violin 2, Julia Chu, grade 10, violin, Diana Ferreira, grade 12, viola, Natalia Servin, grade 9, viola, and Crystal Wu, grade 10, violin 2. So a lot of underclassmen too, so great things to come. Finally, I have an exhaustive list of teams that in our athletic seasons in the fall were teams that were distinguished as New York State Scholar Athlete Team Awards. What that means is that the teams maintained a 90 unweighted GPA average while competing on fall interscholastic teams. These include cheerleading, girls cross country, boys cross country, dance, field hockey, football, golf, gymnastics, boys soccer, girls swimming and diving, girls tennis, boys volleyball, girls volleyball. And it really underscores that we have student athletes, and the student is first. And coaches obviously value that, and our athletic program promote that. Finally, we have concert season beginning tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, we have concerts at Rawl and at Westgates, and then we will continue through all schools up to, I think, December 21st. Thank you.
Thank you.
Concerts tomorrow?
Okay. Agenda questions. Do any of my colleagues have any questions on agenda items?
I'm going to the concert.
I do.
Mrs. Cunningham?
9.3, could I have a little bit more of an explanation of what that is, please?
Intermunicipal agreement.
Aaron Ward, do you want to describe, this is a technique called piggybacking, it's an intermunicipal agreement. It does not bind the district to any action, it just enables us that should we determine that we wish to pursue turf fielding, not making any commitment or recommendation that we're doing at this time, that we would be afforded a discount if we went down that pathway.
Yeah, just to add to that, so basically, school districts in the county of Suffolk are trying to work together to get better pricing. In this particular agreement, it would be for artificial turf in the event that we ever needed to make a purchase of that material in the future. With districts binding together, you get economies of scale, and creates an incentive for vendors to come in lower on their bids.
All right, thank you.
Turf it,
Same here?
turf it up.
If we decide not to do it right away.
The way the contract's written is, there's an opt-out clause, we can give 30 days notice and exit at any time. It's an annual agreement that can be renewed, I think, up to 2 or 3 times.
But the annual agreement would be a different cost possibly?
No, the bid would happen initially, and then that's the pricing.
Well, that's great.
So in the event that the district would want to go on its own and do its own bid, we would just opt out of the agreement, wait 30 days and do our own bid.
Okay.
And that's with
Thank you, Michael.
no cost to us. Just to enter this agreement, there's no cost.
Financial cost of the district at this moment.
I have a question.
Mr.
What
Renner?
is the agreement good for? Is that, okay. I thought it was how long we could opt out for. Okay, never mind, my bad.
Mr. Langone?
I do have a question. If we chose not to do that tonight, is there an opt-in in the future if we choose to go into a turf project?
We were given a deadline of December 16th to either opt in or opt out.
Thank you.
I have another question.
Mrs. Cunningham?
9.7, obsolete equipment. I know we used to say this in the past, and it's one of those things that always stick with me. Can we make sure that any computer equipment, or, you know this, how to say this better than me,
Blanket.
is wiped clean?
See, we have
I did. I've been
some
thinking
computer
about it.
towers and
I know.
smart boards and printers.
All right, so that.
I mean, I don't know if it's common practice of ours. I was thinking about it recently, so I don't have to ask it again. Great. Once every 10 years is good, right?
I can't believe I'm the only guy voting for a tax exemption for seniors.
Any other questions?
Amazing.
Individuals and delegations, this is a business meeting, so, Mr. Artist, do you have a question on the agenda items?
Not on the agenda, I had a question about one of my son's classes that I just.
Okay, so I'm sorry to stop you here, but this is a business meeting, and it's limited to just really items on the agenda.
Okay.
So if you'd like to speak maybe to Mr. Davidson after the meeting's over,
I wanted everyone to hear it, really, but.
then
yeah.
you can come to our community forum in January, and you could speak.
Okay, so now I have to wait till January for my son's English class, he's only getting half
Well,
a class.
See, that's why I'm asking if you'd like to speak to Mr. Davidson privately,
Well, I
because
think everybody should know that, like, the kids.
I understand that, but this is,
English and the other half is
Mr. Artist, this is a business, this is a business meeting, and there are a lot of people that are listening, and if I allow,
They can't hear you, by the way, because none of your microphones actually work on YouTube.
my microphone's on.
Go home and listen, they can't hear you, just to let you know.
Okay.
So if your microphones are plugged into the camera, maybe they can hear you better, but nobody at home can hear you that well.
Is this true?
Not that I know.
Okay,
This is the first
so,
hearing it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Artist, it is a business meeting. I have to conform to the rules of the business meeting. If you'd like to come back in January and speak to a what?
About cuts in sports, in middle school sports, does that have any, that's one of my other questions, about cuts in middle school.
If it's not on the agenda, we can't discuss it, okay? It's something for the community forum. But if you would like to help your son with classes and you have questions,
All the kids in the classes, since they're only getting taught half a class.
Then you have to come to a community forum.
Okay.
Those are the rules. It's been the rule forever. We all know this.
Because money's getting spent, so it's not like a business, then you can hire a third teacher in the class.
okay, so, all right, so trustees request consideration of consent agenda.
I'd like to move the consent agenda with the exception of 9.5 and 9.6.
Moved by Mr. Langone. Seconded by Mr. Renner. On the question, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 700.
I'd like to move item number 9.5, senior citizen tax exemption.
Moved by Mr. Langone,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Cunningham. On the question, seeing none, all those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed?
No.
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 Abstained? Motion fails 160.
I'd like to move item number 9.6, tax exemption for persons with disabilities and limited income.
Moved by
Second.
Mr. Langone,
Seconded.
seconded by Mr. Renner. On the question, seeing none, all those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed?
No.
No.
Abstained? Motion fails 160.
I think that's it.
Do we have any unfinished business?
Oh, did you?
Unfinished business?
I have some unfinished business.
Sure, absolutely. Mr. Renner?
Yes, I know at last meeting, we were discussing the STEM math clubs, and we were going to look to try to add additional clubs. I was wondering if you could just get an update, and if we are doing more, if, when those clubs will be starting, and if we know what funds we'll be using to pay for the clubs.
We have 11, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's on, it's on.
We have 11 additional clubs that are on tonight's board agenda, and they start pretty much immediately.
Wonderful.
So we voted on them, and the answer is yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
To answer your question on funding, it's being funded through the American Rescue Plan federal funds.
Wonderful.
Can I just thank Dr. Omis and the rest of the cabinet for putting that together so
Yep.
quickly?
Well done.
Yeah, it's under new business.
Any other unfinished business? New business?
Mm,
Mr. Renner?
Yes. It has come to my attention that school districts on Long Island are starting to be proactive regarding possibility of a forced COVID shot for students to attend school. Now that it's not yet known whether it's going to be this year or for the next school year, but we do know that the talks are in the works. I know districts like Massapequa and others are starting to draft letters to the New York State governor to keep the COVID shot as an optional for students. I'd like to request that the board can formulate a letter, or if we can have legal, please formulate a letter to be able to join with these other school districts to let the governor know that we here in Lindenhurst believe that it should be optional for students to attend, and that the best medical is between the parent and the child and their doctor, and not between the state and the child.
Thank you.
Me.
One of 8, I would have no problem with that.
Yeah, same.
Okay. Do we have any other new business? Okay. Treasurer's report.
That's you.
Is that me?
No, him. Just acknowledge.
Right,
So,
just
Mr.
acknowledge
Chairman,
that
to
as part of the
acknowledge
agenda.
June, August, September.
Right.
Treasurers, June, July, August, September, treasurers.
All right, so as part of the agenda is we've uploaded and we've caught up with the treasurer reports for June 2022, up through and including September 2022.
Okay, and budget transfers of 15,000 and under.
Yes.
Okay, dates to remember are listed. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Move it.
Second. By Mr. Langone, seconded by Mrs. Cunningham.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.